And welcome back to the Xfinity Desk. I'm Elamite and joined once again here with Tom T-Squared Taylor.
What, it's Elamite or Elamite?
Elamite.
Oh, God. Let's not
10
start
years
that
now,
conversation.
but not right now. I can't deal with this right now. We just saw Luminosity take down Optic or LOL. And of course, pretty good series, still a convincing win here for Luminosity. But, you know, with everything that's been going on, it is a little bit towards what we expected to see.
Yeah, well, let's think about the power rankings, right? So Luminosity said that they're feeling they're around like third, fourth place. So let's assume that Optic Gaming is number 1 and then Envy's number 2. What's going to happen for the rest of the third and fourth slots? Who's going to fill those out? Is it going to be EG? Is it going to be Luminosity? Is it going to be Liquid? That's what I want to see.
That's a really good point as well, because I've got the power rankings in my head. How I think these teams are going to fall out are going to work a little bit differently than what feedback I've gotten from some of the players and things like that. But we just saw that matchup. Next we have is going to be the rematch of the finals. So it's going to be Counterlogic Gaming, aka Optic Gaming now, rematch against Enigma6. Now, of course, this is going to be a lot different than what we previously saw, because the Enigma6 lineup, although Optic has essentially changed organizations, this Enigma6 roster has greatly changed as well. Hook was previously on Enigma6 and considered one of the absolute best players in the game. Enigma6 ended up losing Hook to Team Envious now, so there's a lot on the line to see if the rest of these players and his replacement are going to be able to step it up.
Yeah, so E6, Kratos, Boobadooboo, Stellar, and Suspector. Now, they're dealing with... Suspector is the Master Chief, if you guys weren't aware. A little bit of a spoiler alert, he is the Master Chief. But yeah, Kratos and Boobadooboo, they're still the same core. You know, they're missing Huke now, so Huke on Envy, so possibly their best player. Are they going to be able to bounce back? They also don't have Shooter anymore. Shooter's over there on Allegiance as well. Shooter, kind of the dirty, work objective type of player. So who's going to be able to fill that role? Stellar also, there was a lot of drama going on the last couple days. I even tweeted about it, about the stuff going on with the organization. Stellar said, hey, we were offered this and now we're offered this. These guys are making more money than us. These type of things are distractions. They get in the way. They stop you from playing at your best. If you're an organization, you need to be making sure that you're doing everything in your power to make sure that your players are playing their best. You don't want to sit there and lowball them 2 days, 3 days before the actual tournament is going to start, before the Pro League starts. So, CLG, Optic Gaming now, they have a lot of incentive to play. They're going to be obviously making more money than they were on CLG. They wouldn't sign otherwise. Why would they sign? For the juice? Maybe. They also have the juice to play for. They can play, because they're going to get more views. So they have so much to play for right now. That's even more motivation. It's more incentive for them to continue their winning streak.
The sky is the limit for these guys right now. They've been off to a fantastic year. Like we said, they're trying to form the next Halo dynasty, essentially. Now, they've essentially won 2 LAN events up to this point, so they've still got a lot to do in order to form that in my book, but God, this is such a good squad. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, they're so good because, again, they just focus on playing. They don't deal with all the BS outside the game. They just sit there. You see Snakebite starts his stream up super early in the morning, starts playing Warzone with his viewers and things like that. He's not worried. He's not worried about, contracts. He's not worried about things like that going on. He's just focused on winning. And if that's what your goal is, that's what your priority, everyone shares that same like-mindedness, then that's what's going to happen. So, it's going to be really tough for E6 to come out and play well against them. We didn't see them put up much of a fight in the actual finals there. It was a 4-0. None of the games were really like, oh man, E6 almost won. Even if they did, it wouldn't have been that close. So I want to see a close series. I just don't know if we're going to see it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, shout out to Kratos and Suspector, especially Kratos, because at the Halo World Championship and at the Summer Finals, this kid took second place at both of those. So with the exception of the 4 members of CLG, he is factually the best Halo 5, next best Halo 5 player out there.
Statistically speaking, on placings, yes. He has had a really good supporting cast, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't, a mastermind of creating that team, being a part of that team, also individually carrying his own weight, which is really important as well. So, Kratos, definitely a very entertaining character. We want to, see these guys do well. I'm just a little bit worried about the problems that they were facing up leading into this. I think that those things can really get in the way of the team chemistry.
I couldn't agree more. And with this Enigma6 lineup, like we said, it is hard to argue that this lineup is going to be better than any of the previous lineups that they've had in the past. Enigma6 has found a lot of success, and you do have Kratos and Bubudubu sticking it out together here. But like we talked about with Hook going over to Envious now, you lose one of the best, if not, I mean, you can make an argument he was the best player in the game. Well, it's hard to rank numbers 1 through 4. You don't really know. But regardless, losing that player and having to replace him with, with Stellar and with Suspector, trying to find that chemistry when we already know that the team is having issues. Now, I don't want to speculate too hard unless I am directly involved.
I will.
I know you will, Tom, but as far as what I can do here, not speculate too much unless I know exactly what had happened, and in fact, I don't. But regardless, if you were reading the forums, if you're participating on Twitter and things like that, you can tell that this team has not been the happiest as of late.
Well, let's throw all that to the side and let's just sit there and talk about strategy, okay?
Okay.
Now, let's say that the game types, they haven't changed that much. So, Optic Gaming, former CLG, they're still rated with the meta. They're still playing at a really high level. And then you have everyone on E6. You lose Hook. You lose Shooter. Now you have to explain your strategies to these guys. Yeah, those guys are going to explain their strategies to you too. But it takes a little bit of time to develop into that full team when you're running on all cylinders. So strategically speaking, I don't think that Enigma6 is going to have what it takes to, beat Optic, but if they play really well individually, say if Kratos goes and gets the scatter shot and holds elbow like he does in Coliseum and is just super annoying, then yeah, they will stand a chance. They're going to have to really individually shine and really step up because I don't know if they're going to have the actual strategy to take down Optic Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen great things out of teams playing against Optic Gaming here in the past. Let me just make sure I get that right and don't call him CLG here. Like you've seen even Straight Sick back when he was on the former Optic Gaming, essentially go on a clinic, pick up 9 kills in the first minute and 10 seconds of a Coliseum capture the flag game. So you've seen players can absolutely at this level take over a game. We've seen it from Ninja, we've seen it from Ace, we've seen it from lots of different players over the course of the summer season. But are they going to be able to do that long enough and as many times in a best of 5 game series to actually secure a victory? Now, kind of an interesting development here is on top of where we think Enigma6 is going to fall as far as the eventual or the overall season goes. They're actually off to a pretty rough start here for their first showing of the fall season, as they have not been ready to play here quite yet, and they're actually going to be forfeiting their first game here to Optic Gaming.
So are they forfeiting the first game or the entire series?
The first game.
Okay, so just the first game. Maybe they're still working on their contract issues. Maybe they need to get a lawyer involved.
And we do have the players set up in-game now. This is going to be Slayer on Regret. Of course, team deathmatch here, 50 kills to win. It is going to be a race to that kill count. This is a map you rarely see not go to that full 50 kill count.
Oh,
You've
yeah,
got the
zero
scatter
chance.
shot. A few changes here from last season as well.
Yeah, I like the changes to this one. I do miss the fuel rod being over there towards where we used to call where the fuel rod is, and now the plasma caster is there. But nice little jump there from Suspector, making his way towards top center. Picks up the splinter nades as well. So all in all, he will have 4 nades in his arsenal. Only has 1 left now. I'm not really sure what happened with the overshield, but I do like how he's staying off radar, just trying to pick up the intel. Royal 2's caught over there, no shields towards the towards where the fuel rod used to be, towards top pink. And there it is. You have Optic Gaming now with the overshield and slowly getting in control. And this is where they just suck the life right out of you. They just start collapsing on the spawns, and there's really nothing that you can do. It doesn't matter how good individually you play when you can't spawn and get your shots off.
And this was going to be Optic Gaming grabbing the overshield to start this one out with the hands of Lethal. You also had Royal 2 with the plasma caster you see on the kill feed there. Frosty's got a carbine. Great opening start here for the new Optic Gaming roster.
Yeah, as expected. This is a very fast-paced map. E6 is showing up late to play their match. They lost the first map from the forfeit, and this is, next to the very first map that we didn't get a chance to see, Empire Strongholds. This is the second fastest moving map that requires tons of communication, and you have to, be on top of your game. If you're not warmed up, you're gonna get slaughtered on this map. This is a very snowbally map, and this is what Optic Gaming now specializes in. Controlling the map, controlling the power-ups, controlling the power weapons, and slowly just continuing to build on their lead.
And look at this Optic Gaming roster wasted no time taking off those Counter Logic Gaming skins and strapping on the Optic Gaming ones. See, Lethal alive for so long, not even dying yet this game.
He's out of ammo.
In fact, you've only got 2 deaths from Optic Gaming overall.
Yeah, again, not surprised. This is what happens when you show up late and you're not warmed up, and you're just gonna get raffle stomped by these guys. And Lethal doing a really nice job of controlling top center, but Stellar gets a nade and then picks up a double. This is your opportunity to push here. Frost that busts out the scatter shot, gets help from Royal too, and Stellar is gonna fall. But that was a nice job from Stellar getting a couple picks here. It's very actually hard to get picks on a team that has full control like that, and also taking out the scatter shot guys. So because of a result of that, they're slowly creeping back into this. Boobadooboo trying to pick up that overshield, didn't have the exact timing on that, but Lethal picked it up last time, so he has it. That's at 9:45, so keep that in mind moving forward. That's going to be back up at 7:45. Spectre, nice shots, getting the reversal onto Royal too, and they didn't even waste time changing their gamer tags, Kyle. Everyone besides Lethal putting the Optic in front of their name.
And here we go, back with Lethal, who in fact grabbed that second overshield already this game. Back up to an 11-kill lead. It's 20-9. Still going to be quite some time before this next overshield, although Lethal is just about to run out of his. They know their trapping player is below red. You've got Snakebite and Lethal working to collapse on this base, and even Frosty watching in front of it.
3 people watching car side. That's exactly what you need. You don't even need a guy in pink side. Nice job, Stellar, again, getting a pick. But this is the good play from E6. You want to go and counter that by pushing out car side together and going over towards what I like to call the afro, or towards the grass, whatever you want to call it. Nice job using his radar, trying to get that kill onto Lethal. Misses the assassination. Lethal's going to try to get the melee. Misses it. Suspector doing a nice job trading kills back and forth here. And this is good. It's not over yet. You're only down 11 kills, and you could bring this back. Just hold top center, hold this top car area until the next overshield comes up. And now Optic, let's see what their retake strategy is. Obviously have to push car side.
And this is a great job by Enigma6 here. They know that all of Optic Gaming is going to be spawning in red base, and Suspector playing patiently, waiting for callouts from his teammates, waiting till he knows what in fact he needs to do, preventing this angle to be taken by Optic Gaming.
Yeah, but it looks like they know that he's crouching over there, so Snakebite's going to make his way over there with the Plasma Caster, so nice job. Let's take a look at the kills really quick. Kratos struggling with the 1 and 8. Meanwhile, Snakebite with the 9 and 3, so almost doubling their score. So again, Optic coming out hot here. Not a big surprise considering they were the team, CLG beforehand, winning that World Championship, and also walking away with first place as well in the summer season. So, it's exactly where we're pretty much leaving off where we left off in the summer season. So just, we got a dropout here. Who was that? That was Stellar. Stellar actually lagged out. So the score was 33-16 when that happened. Keep that in mind. That's going to mean that only 17 more kills for Optic Gaming to walk away with this one. I'm predicting that they're going to be able to do so, and I think that they're going to go up 2-0 in this series. It's really hard. Again, we were talking about it. I don't want to make the whole, day about dealing with distractions, but again, like, that's kind of been the story here. There's, people lagging out, people showing up late, you get dropped from your organization 12 hours before the tournament starts. All of these crazy things, they really affect the quality of Halo.
I couldn't agree more. Now, that is a 17-kill lead that Optic Gaming currently had over that Enigma6 roster. Of course, we didn't see that first game played out, but clearly Optic Gaming is not wasting any time in picking up exactly where they left off at the summer finals, and that's going to be essentially being that undisputed team.
Well, like I said, the game types, they've been tweaked a little bit, but it's not anything game-changing enough to change the entire meta of what, regret really is. It's still the same basic thing. Get the overshield, control top center, hold car side. When you want to retake the map, you have to go car side, which is why it's important to hold the car side in the first place. It's just a matter of when you're retaking control, everyone's staying alive in that base, finding the pick, and then once you get that pick, playing the numbers game, as you were talking, Kyle, the sprint mechanics, all the mechanics in Halo 5 that were introduced allow you to move very quickly. So once you get that numbers advantage, that's when you start to make your move. However, it's so hard to do against the best team right now, not just in North America, but in the world. Obviously, it remains to be seen how the rest of the season is going to pan out, but based on what we've seen so far, the first, 5.5 games or 4.5 games, whatever you want to call them, it looks like not much has changed.
Right, and we'll give you an update here exactly how the rest of the series is going to play out. What we're going to do here for that replay as well. We currently do have the tournament administrators taking a look into that. We'll give you an update here shortly, but like you were saying, it kind of seems, regardless of that first game not being played out, if you had to go back and take a look at, the power rankings with the new teams that have been created, losing Hook was such a big loss for this team because he was so impactful during the summer season. His KDA was absolutely ridiculous, and I'm pretty sure it was the highest in the league. So, we talk about who the best player in the game is, and you kind of just throw that nomination over CLG's way. But if you had to pick a top 5, you throw Hook in there, no doubt about it. And where he falls as far as those top 5 players in the game goes, that's still up for debate.
Yeah, we were talking about how when we look at these power rankings, how we feel like Optic and Envy have really secured their spots. And when we look at maybe the bottom of the list, obviously Optic with what they're dealing with right now, and also the performance that we saw could be floating around possible, relegation. I'm a little bit worried looking at the Allegiance roster and possibly the E6 roster. I really just feel like the other 5 teams are really strong. That doesn't mean that these guys can't put it together and start practicing and start putting together solid performances and gaining the momentum that they need. And who knows, maybe other things will come up, possibly with the roster deadline. It's in 2 weeks, maybe seeing a little bit more shuffles. I know that you can't change more than 2 players, so and not anything super drastic, but yeah, I mean, the team changes that have happened, they've benefited a lot of teams, and they've made a couple of the teams a little bit weaker.
Right, I'm glad you brought up that point as well. With what we've seen from Halo World Championships, of course, we had Optic Gaming now, or CLG at the time, win that event really convincingly, and we had Allegiance get second. Now, if we go back to Halo World Championships, in my opinion, Denial was actually the second best team there. They are the ones that took the most games off of CLG. Even the games they lost were still interesting. And let's not forget that
not Denial,
Hook.
NB.
No,
right?
No, Denial. Hook, Boo Boo Doo and Contra Predevinator.
Oh, you're looking back that far.
That far, Halo World Championships.
Yeah, it's just Huke, though. Huke, Contra and Devin, they're consistent and things like that, but Huke's just a monster, man. Played against the guy. He also has a really good mindset, and he's going to do serious damage on that Envy squad. And you also have Alumni, who's the coach of that squad, and, really almost solidifying himself as possibly the best coach in all of Halo 5. The way that he's able to bring his previous knowledge competing and also realize that each team that he coaches a little bit differently. Every single player needs a little bit of different TLC and things like that, and everyone needs to be treated differently. But yeah, I mean, it's a really strong team. I do think, we saw E6 finish second. I want to see what they're going to be able to do. It's up to their 2 pickups. Kratos and Boo Boo Doo, they've proven that they can get second. They still can do it. It's not like it was all Hook. But it's up to Stellar and Suspector. These are the guys that Kratos believed in, that said, hey, these guys can replace Shooter. These guys can replace Hook. Go and do it. So I'm really looking to these 2 guys to step up. This is the second time now where Suspector's been picked up, just like he did in EG, where people look to him to be that player that we know that he can. If he doesn't perform well, it has to be on him this time. It can't be because the team wasn't meshing and things like that. You pick your team, you're stuck with these guys, and you got to perform. So, it starts again with very small things and the basics and just applying those things.
Now, going on with that team and these new lineups that these players find themselves on, if you go back and you take a look at all the different team lineups that we've seen over the course of this year, you've got, or Halo 5 in general, you've got CLG, undisputed, #1 team, best lineup that we've seen so far. Now, the Allegiance team that finished second, of course, they instantly broke up after World Championships, and you saw players scatter everywhere. Clearly, they're not as confident in that team, or the chemistry wasn't there. Something happened to where the second-place team breaks up. Now, we've got different lineups here. Now, in my opinion, since that first denial lineup that was actually kind of giving um, Optic Gaming now or CLG a run for their money, this new Envy squad, in my opinion, is the next strongest team formation that we have
They
seen
are.
since Halo 5.
They are, but then you also, have Luminosity, who looked really good against Optic. You have EG, who has Ogre 2 as the analyst. And then you have Liquid with, Spartan, Commonly, Penguin, and Rain. Those guys, I could see that being a cohesive unit as well. So the battle for the top 4 is going to be just as intense as it was last season. And, I think the quality of Halo is going to continue to rise based on not only the team changes that we saw, which I'm not a big fan of the team changes, but obviously the game's going to continue to develop and these players have put in more time. So the games overall are going to be that much better because the players are going to be playing at an even higher level because they've had that extra, couple months to practice in the off season.
Right, and instead of first being guaranteed for Counterlogic Gaming or Optic Gaming, you've got the run for second. It was going to come down, essentially, most people are looking at the summer finals and saying it's probably going to be Enigma6, which in fact it was, or it could potentially be that Envious lineup that almost took down CLG during regular season play as well. Now, what we're kind of seeing...
Keep in mind, C9, though. C9 almost beat CLG at that tournament. They were up 2-0. That team had Ninja, had Commonly. All of those guys were playing out of their mind. There was a small mishap on that Rig Strongholds game where Ninja doubled back and could have contested the basement, and they were looking at possibly going up 3-0 and walking away with the tournament win.
Well,
so
Ninja's team had that same kind of issue happen at Halo World Championships where they were up 2-0 on Team Allegiance and ended up falling short that series. And they actually had a significant lead in Game 3, if I'm not mistaken, as well, that they ended up letting slip by. So it's kind of been a consistent theme for Ninja's teams, actually, and what he's had to, essentially go through. So he's great job at, actually building those leads. You can't take anything away from them. But even with that summer finals, Cloud9 taking that 2-0 lead over Counterlogic Gaming, I still saw that as more of a Counterlogic Gaming not performing up to their same standard in those first 2 games, as opposed to Cloud9 being the next strongest team there.
I don't know. I really thought that when they're playing well, when these guys are playing well, when they have that confidence and momentum, this game's all about your mindset. I remember... I already knew it, but I remember sitting there, and I think it was in 2009 when Ogre 2 won a national championship. And I remember sitting behind him and listening to his interview. I think it was with Julie Alexander and DMAC. And he said that the number one thing that you need is confidence to win. And where does that confidence come from? It comes from so many different things, right? Where does it come from? It comes from believing, right? Believing in yourself, believing in your teammates and things like that. So once you start believing, right, in your C9 and you win that first game, I'm looking at that series when in the summer championships, right, where they were up 2-0. They win the first game, they start believing. All of a sudden, CLG wins the next game, then CLG starts believing. So we're seeing so much of, esports, so much of Halo is really just mental. It's all about having that confidence. And it's really unbelievable because there's so many small things that can happen in the game that you want to try to eliminate those factors and keep control of what you can keep control of.
All right. Well, good news here. No more delay. We do have the players set up here in game number 2. Of course, that was a replay, but we are looking at now a 17-kill lead in favor of Optic Gaming.
Yeah, Optic Gaming is probably going to be able to do exactly what they did before. I would doubt if anyone switched their beginning strategy. I wouldn't doubt if they were able to even get that overshield again. Lethal seemed to have it the first time and then timed it again here. It's just such a hard map to beat these guys on because it's their kind of map. They're a collapsed team. They're a team that loves, punishing people as well. So really going to be really difficult for E6 to do this one. Again, it was 2-2 to start off the last game, and then Optic was able to walk away with this one. Looks like E6 is going to elect to do what they do more than any team and slow it down. So this is a pretty good play considering they don't have the intel on where everyone from Optic Gaming is, and they're just going to try to get that first kill and then rotate. However, everybody on the side of Optic doing a really nice job of staying alive and baiting and switching.
And yeah, that was really slow kind of start, but enough time had gone by where Optic Gaming was able to essentially get set up and collapse onto those bases. You've got now Still members pushing across Lethal, taking out Stellar, who looked like he was about to go for a ground pound there. Great teamwork by Frosty and Lethal to shut them down. Now, on the right side of your screen, you can see Enigma6 is going to need 50 and Optic Gaming needs 36 kills here.
Yeah, that's based on the lead that they have. Instead of resuming from where the kills were, we're going to be giving them the kill differential and then moving forward based on that. I think that's a pretty solid rule that allows for the full game to be played, and each game is different than the other one, so the flow and momentum and the spawn system doesn't get changed here, which I do like. So let's see if E6 is going to be able to use that disconnect as a possible time to reset, or if it's just going to be Optic continuing to put the belly on him.
And that's Royal 2 running through, putting some hurt down with that scatter shot. So we'll go ahead and take a look through his screen. Now, of course, the reason, or part of the reason that these rules were updated in this fashion was because of that Evil Geniuses, and I think it was Cloud9 game where there was a lag out with only a few kills left, and the beginning opening strategy actually determined the winner of the game. So I do like some of the changes that were made here. And of course, looks like that overshield did in fact just come up and get burnt by Boo Boo Doo Boo. So great job by him. Had no options or no plays at his disposal and prevents Optic Gaming from grabbing that new overshield.
And nice play by Royal 2. He sprinted all the way to the edge of his radar, but does show up on the radar there. However, that's Boo Boo Doo Boo that was weak. Looks like Stellar trying to land some plasma caster shots on him, but he's the last guy alive, so Royal 2 is just going to collapse. Ends up faking him out using the radar. You can see that shot was pulled out there. Is he going to be able to get this kill with the scatter shot? No. So Stellar being really aggressive. Royal 2 needed a little bit of help there, and there goes the help. It was just a little bit too late. Everyone on Optic Gaming starting to collapse now. However, everyone on E6 trying to do the strategy where you spawn car side, or you spawn on top of the base and you sprint through car 1 to the opposite side and split the spawn. So it looks like it was able to pay off for them.
And just like that, we've got another lead here being built by Optic. 20-12, so picking up, like we said, right where they left off here. They know exactly how they want to play this game type, and they're not going to be giving up any free deaths.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it's an 8-kill lead. However, it's actually a 22-kill lead because of what happened in the replay. So, they again, Optic can just afford to sit there and trade kills. Not that big of a deal. However, Stellar doing some work with the plasma caster. It's going to take something like that for someone to go on a little bit of a spree here with the weapons, get control of top center, and then try to secure this overshield if you want to stand a chance against Optic Gaming.
This is a great job by Enigma6 actually escaping in that situation. They had several weak players top center, and they were all able to escape. And you can see in the kill feed here now, Royal 2 had the combo here, but it was actually, in fact, Enigma6 that was still able to pick up a few kills there. So now this lead diminished down to just a 7-kill lead here within this game.
This is much more of the quality of Halo that I expect to see here. When you go and you play online, for example, like that, and it's your first game, you could not take it as seriously and realize that there's so much on the line here in the Pro League here for HCS that if you go and just play it like it's any other game, or if it's a scrim, you can see now that they've slowed the pace down, a lot more methodical, no dumb deaths. This game has been a lot more smoother for E6. If they played like this in the very first replay, I would be having some really high praise for them. So this is, if you're an E6 fan, this is definitely what you want to see out from them.
And I really like what we just saw as far as Royal 2 just watching Snakebites back while he was grabbing that new overshield as well.
With the green gun as well. So if anyone on the other team was to kill Snakebite and even get it, they'd be screwed.
Exactly. So great job by Royal 2 here and the rest of Optic Gaming. They know exactly what they want to do in the positions they want to take when they're collapsing on a base, when they're controlling top center, or when they're setting up for power-ups.
Yeah, and here you have Royal 2 again just collapsing, and this is what Optic really specializes in. When they smell blood, they like to swarm around and just get you in really uncomfortable positions. And the only strategy that you can do at this point is go and sprint to the other side of the map. Everyone knows on Optic Gaming that you're going to be spawning at blue side for E6, so you have to immediately run through car or wherever people aren't and just try to get to the other base so you can split spawns and try to collapse and get a pick. But it looks like no one on the side of Optic is falling for it, and they're just setting up here top center waiting for them to run out.
And there's several players dead here for Enigma6. They're trying to stay alive and wait for their spawners, try to get some help from teammates, but Optic Gaming just too quick on some of those collapses. Now, several members, however, dying. Good job by Enigma6, and just look at their player cams. They're all just sneaking and crouching around everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Royal 2's like, what's going on here? Why is there two people crouching car 1 and another one hiding over there towards car side? I mean, yeah, you could slow the game down here if you're E6, but you're really just going to result in trading kills. They don't even trade the kills here. They need to get on a spree. Everyone on this team needs to go on a killing spree if they want to win this game. Optic only 4 more away, now 3 more away. That's going to be pretty much all she wrote for E6. Optic Gaming is going to go up 2-0 in this series, but the thing to keep in mind, Kyle, is that E6 is one of the most resilient teams that we have in the HCS. So many times we've seen these guys go down to 2-0, and so many times they come back and fight. They may win the series, they may not, but the last thing that they're going to do is give up.
Yeah, we did see that when they matched up against Team Envious last season, where they were in fact down 2-0 or 0-2 in a series and brought back with a reverse sweep. So we've seen it from them before. Whether or not they're going to be able to do it against this Optic Gaming lineup, that's probably still to be determined. But just like that, that is 36 kills. You can see Royal 2 slowing it down, walking around. They know, in fact, this is over and what they needed to do. At least I believe it is.
I would still be playing. I don't take anything for chance. But yeah, this one is over, guys. Royal 2 just sitting there, and there it is. The game is going to end. Let's take a look at the stats. Keep in mind, we didn't see the stats from the very first replay, but nothing really changing here. It was a 14-kill lead. Then when the game ended, it was a 12-kill lead here. So as much as I want to say E6 did a nice job of slowing that one down, and they did, Optic did a better job of playing aggressive and collapsing.
That's exactly correct here. And looking at some of the replays, there were some good plays from Enigma6.
Yeah,
like,
I saw good plays from Stellar.
Talented team, you know, extremely good. Boo I really like that overshield burn there as well. He did exactly what he needs to, but Optic Gaming just too smart, too talented, too strategic in their setups, especially on Regret.
Yeah, they're ready for it. Regret, you know, it doesn't take a mastermind to play that one. That one's pretty straightforward and simple. Coliseum CTF a little bit more in-depth when it talks to the actual strategy here, so it's not going to get any easier for E6, but I do know, you know, Kratos, this is one of his stronger game types as well. We've seen Boo completely go off as well, so again, I'm still looking at Spectre and Stellar. We saw some nice kills coming out from Stellar with the Plasma Caster last game. Looking to these guys again to step up, and I'm not going to count E6 out until this game's over. I wouldn't doubt if they were even able to take CTF Coliseum.
You know, that is a good point, too. I don't want to cross these guys off the list. They are extremely talented. You know, Kratos, love him or hate him, his consistency does not lie in what he's been able to do for Halo 5. Outside of the Counter Logic Gaming / Optic crew here, he is the next most successful player here that we've seen so far for Halo 5.
Yeah, in terms of prize money won, in terms of, you know, overall placings and things like that, numbers don't lie. So, you know, these guys, they have what it takes. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'm a little bit worried about the things that they're dealing with, the distractions. I'm a little bit worried that they showed up late today. These are some things that they need to address. They need to say, hey guys, let's talk about these things so we can get focused on playing Halo.
There's enough things that you have to concentrate on in-game, whether or not you're thinking about where your teammates are, where the enemy team is, the power weapons or power-ups that are spawning on the map, timing of weapons like the shotgun or something that's on that's not on a static spawn. You've got to worry about so much in-game, backing down your shields, things like that, that you need to eliminate the other distractions, aka things that are pretty easy to avoid, like when you need to be somewhere at what time or where you need to be at. So we don't know exactly what has happened, but this is one of the ones, you know, it's not like you're waking up at 6 a.m. to go to work and you're 5 minutes late. This is a match at 4:30 in the Pacific time where you can set
which
up
is like 8 a.m. for gamers. But either way, when I look at how you beat this Optic Halo team, it starts with the beginning strats, right? It starts with, you know, you don't have to play perfect Halo, but you have to play pretty close to it. And a lot of that starts with getting control right from the get-go. Why make it hard on yourself, you know? And these guys, they've been doing, you know, so well that if you give them a chance, they're going to capitalize on that. And we saw it with C9. C9 went up 2-0 in a best-of-7. CLG could have easily folded, but they didn't. They came back at the very end of that Rig Strongholds game, and then they started out the rest of their games really strong. I think it was like an Empire Strongholds or something like that the next game. But either way, it starts with the beginning strats. We saw both of these games in the Regret Slayer that it was 2-2. That's not enough. You need to and then it was like 4 or 5-2 after that, because Optic was able to, you know, take advantage of the positioning and things like that. You have to come out, get all 4 dead, get three dead or something like that. You have to put in the work to realize where these guys are going in the beginning of the game and come up with some sort of counter strategy. Otherwise, just putting in the normal hours playing, you don't stand a chance.
I couldn't agree more. Now, we do have the Capture the Flag Coliseum coming up as a game number 3. Of course, that is a 2-0 lead now for Optic Gaming. But let's go ahead and take a look at the vetoes and see how we exactly ended up on this game type. Of course, this isn't something we showed a whole lot last season, but we will have it more on the broadcast here this time. As you can see on the bottom of your screen here, you do have a ban from Optic Gaming on Stasis, which we've consistently seen through, from them over the course of last season. And then, of course, Enigma6 comes out with a Fathom ban, a Truth by Optic Gaming, and then we result with a Coliseum CTF.
Well, I don't blame Optic Gaming for, banning Stasis because it's one of the newer maps introduced, right? And these guys have been playing Halo 5 since the very beginning. So when you go and you have a new map introduced, then everyone starts off on a clean slate. All of those strategies and all that extra work that you've put in doesn't really matter on this map anymore, besides like your weapon skills and your movement and your communication and things like that. So that's why I'm saying not much has changed from last season to this season in terms of there isn't any like new maps or anything that we've seen so far. We haven't seen anything so game changing where it's changed the meta, and that's why I think that this Optic Gaming squad is going to continue to be so dominant. Again, you do have this envious squad who beat them in a scrim, but like I said, just not much has changed. Besides the rosters and things like that, the game itself is still, Halo 5, the strategies are still the same. And until someone proves otherwise that they can come out and hang strategically with Optic, then I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and this is a team that had an insane map win ratio and really only struggled on like one game type. I think the Rig Strongholds last season. Now, they may have had another one where someone had a higher win rate percentage, but vetoes are going to definitely go towards the lower seeded teams looking to use those to their advantage to defeat Counter Logic.
I would want to play Stasis if I was them. That's what I would try to do. I would start with trying to play Stasis, but if Optic's going to be smart and immediately ban it out, there's nothing that you can do. So maybe you go back and say, do we want to, get these guys on Rig Strongholds? Maybe you look at the games that they lost to C9 and see how C9 was able to do it. Or maybe watch those scrims against, Envy and be like, what was Envy doing so well? Where was, the cracks in Optic Gaming's armor? But again, it's just going to be a really uphill battle for E6 in this next game, CTF Coliseum, but I wouldn't count them out. If anything, I think that this is going to be their best game out of the 5 games if we did go to 5 games.
All right, well, let's not waste any more time. Although the series has started off a little rocky, we do have the players set up in game number 3, Coliseum Capture the Flag. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map here. Not too many changes from last season, but Tom, let's take a look at it. Tell me a little bit more about this.
Yeah, CTF Coliseum, it's all about controlling the weapons, and once you control those weapons, making sure that you're watching the spawns. The elbow is a very common spawn. It's really smart to get that snipe right into the cave and sit there and watch that. But a lot of things that people feel like is if you don't have snipe control, you can't capture the flag, and I don't think that that's something that you want to live and die by. So curious to see who's going to be able to. It looks like Boobadooboo going with a little bit of a cheeky play to start. He's going to give the sniper up and assume that they're just going to immediately push. Not a big fan of this play at all. You literally could go charge out and die and end up in the same exact spot. Looks like he's going to end up spawning his teammate Stellar there. Looks like he gets spotted out. Frosty knows what's going on, and that's what I'm talking about. It starts at the beginning. Frosty knew that Boobadooboo was going to be there, and there it is. Boobadooboo does nothing to start the game, and oh my gosh, these guys from Optic, you just switch to every one of their screens, and they're always doing something ridiculous, just absolutely insane. You can't afford, if you're E6, to just do nothing in the beginning of the game and just hope on a prayer that someone's going to walk by. You have to contest the rockets with the sniper.
Yeah, Frosty wasn't having any of that. Reads him like a book, shuts him down instantly, says, "Boo-boo, get away from my doo-boo."
So that's my doo-boo, boo-boo. But yeah, Royal 2 with the sniper here. One of the best snipers in all of Halo 5. Not in a position where he can play aggressive yet with the sniper, so he's just sitting back trying to bait snakebite, also watching for the elbow spawns. But one of the things that E6 does pretty well is they don't poke out. Saw that in that last game where they were playing pretty conservative. So Royal 2 is going to have to do a little bit more hunting, maybe trying to Nice job by Suspector trying to get a melee on him, but it's not going to work. But yeah, you have to add pressure onto Royal 2 here, and you have to just be really smart making sure that you don't poke.
And look at that. Such a good player. Switches his grenades to get that frag out, knows the angle and the bounce, and you can almost always expect players to be hiding in that little flag corner on top of that blue base. I really like what we're seeing from both of these teams right now. You've got Optic Gaming setting up extremely well, and you've got Enigma6 playing some of the best defense we've seen.
Well, I was going to say, eventually what's going to happen with Royal 2 sitting there is he's just going to get frustrated and have to take a different angle. It looks like he got frustrated and ended up having to drop. So when he dropped, he immediately got taken out. So everyone on E6 playing very conservative. You can see Suspector over here crouching. Royal 2 died and had enough time to spawn and even push up over there. It looks like Suspector is going to show up on the radar. And with everyone hiding, that means the rockets are going to be pretty easily picked up there for the side of Optic. However, Royal 2 not winning that fight, and that was a pretty big fight. He would have been able to secure the catwalk area if he was able to win that one.
And great job over here. You got Snakebite picked up 2 kills. You got the rockets in the hands of Frosty as well. You can see in that player feed cam. They know the players are going to be spawning on the elbow there. Lethal is blocking that cave spawn. They know the players are either going to be on the rocket side corner or over towards the back of the base. Lethal, you don't see him with the sniper that much because everyone else on the team normally has it, but he is an extremely talented one as well.
Looks like Snakebite's going to push in over here towards the elbow, and this is what I'm talking about. A lot of people think that they have to always run the flag snipe side, but you can reverse the spawns. If you're not in the cave, you could sit on the elbow and force them into the cave. You just have to realize that that's actually happening and communicate and do exactly what Optic's doing right now. Go back and clear out your base. Watch that snipe side of the map. I don't know if they all need to be taking the same angle here. Someone could have spread out and jumped into the window and got that angle onto the guy in the back of the flag. So this may not work out for them. Let's see what happens. Looks like Snakebite over there. Yeah, and it looks like they're just trading kills, but Snakebite getting a big 1v1 over there on Suspector, and the guy shooting him in the back. That's Kratos watching that with the splinter grenade on there. He's going to be able to take out Snakebite. So nice heads-up play from Kratos, but it looks like everyone from Optic's going to collapse on this and get the touch.
And Boo trying to push up there, but nobody, wow, even with everything they did, they were not able to stop that in any way. Optic Gaming just proving why they are the best team in here in the league. Boo does have this scatter shot. I like what he's doing. Take it over to snipe side of the base, try to get some more up close angles, but Frosty with that sniper catches his head taken out.
Yeah, I mean, Frosty hits that shot and then immediately just started going towards top catwalk to get that angle, and Boo had to immediately run. And look at how scared everyone on E6 has to play because they don't know where anyone on CLG is, and as soon as they spot him, he gets taken out immediately. Every time you switch to someone on E6, they're just crouching around the corner because of just the threat coming out from Optic Gaming.
This might be the very first team ever that I think plays with toggle crouch on, because these guys are crouching everywhere all over the map. Of course, if it works, then why not do it? And we're seeing a lot of it out of Optic Gaming as well.
So someone from the side of E6 was able to spawn and immediately sprint over. It looks like that was Suspector, but however, everyone on Optic is already looking for it. That's going to be the last player to stop the flag. Frosty says no to Boo. He took his Dubu right out of his hands, like taking candy from a baby as well, she would say. But it looks like Frosty and this Optic Gaming squad is, you know, still, ooh, is that it looked like a headshot
Did
to
he
me.
hit him?
Yeah, I don't know, but these guys, they haven't slowed down a beat. If they continue to play like this, it's just going to be so difficult to beat them. I want to see the way that these guys are playing. I want to see an Envy Optic match already.
And who locks down the window as effectively as Frosty does? That Suspector must have had his hand on his head, and that's what got shot, because that was right through his face if I've ever seen one. But Frosty still staying in that window even after that, hitting a stick as well, and just essentially locking down the whole front of the base.
Yeah, everyone on E6 playing this pretty smart, though, getting the angles, so Frosty's not able to get the necessary picks that he needs to secure this cap. However, Royal 2 getting a big beatdown onto Stellar is going to give them the number advantage, and now getting a kill onto Royal 2 as well, which means only 2 members are alive, and those are the last 2 people that Frosty killed. He's going to pick up that killing frenzy. They're going to be able to put this flag in there, and there you have it. Optic Gaming making their debut with a big 3-0 over E6, making that one look easy, Kyle.
Yeah, I honestly did not even know that that was the last flag cap going in. That was so quick. I kind of forgot one in the middle there, but wow, 15 kills out of Frosty, and he had a frenzy as well. So just keep in mind, like, Enigma6's play style that game, it was ridiculously slow and scared. Yeah,
you can do that in the Slayer. You can do it in a Slayer like this in Regret, where it's a replay, but you can't slow play things in CTF Coliseum. You know, I saw Boo crouching over there towards the cave. That's just a scared play. You're putting all your eggs in a basket for a guy to come over there and for you to backwhack him, why not just go and contest the snipe, throw some nades? I hate when people die and they still have 2 nades in their inventory. It's like you could have easily cut off some angles and just stayed alive a little bit longer. And, you know, yeah, I mean, not much to say. Optic Gaming just coming out super hot. I mean, what do you do when they're playing that well? I don't know.
And look, winning an Empire Stronghold's 1-0, unheard of in this game. So
we're
just
trolling you
kidding
guys.
there.
We're just trolling you guys.
Right.
Yeah, that was a replay, or well,
a
forfeit.
Right, exactly. So appreciate everyone working through to get done with that series. Essentially, of course, we had a few hiccups going through there, but Optic Gaming off to a hot start with their new organization here and picking up right where they left off. I think I've said that like 10 times here so far today, but it's hard to say anything other than that. Like, they were completely dominant in the summer season, an 82% map win ratio, dominating finals performance. And this was Enigma6, although it's not the same lineup, but this was the team that actually defeated CLG and gave them their only loss. So of course, CLG was out with something to prove here.
Yeah, I mean, Optic, they did exactly what we're expecting them to do. I want to talk a little bit more about E6 because I'm worried for them. They're the second ranked team coming in based on what we saw from the previous season. They made some changes. They lost, quote unquote, their best player. You know, they showed up a little bit late today. They're dealing with all these issues. I'm a little bit worried for them. I want to see them go to the drawing board here, maybe hold a little bit of team meeting, everybody get on the same page and start worrying about what their next match is. I'm not sure who that's against, but if they have another abysmal performance like they did today, then I'm gonna have to say that they're going to be on possibly the break of going to regulations because all the other teams have been looking so strong on paper based on what the team changes were.
All right, now we do have an interview here with the winning team. That is going to be Lethal from the new Optic Gaming roster. Of course, he's going to be joining us just with the audio here as well. But Lethal, can you hear me, sir?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Loud
we can.
and clear. All right, Lethal. So I got to know, are you at the Optic Gaming house already?
Yeah, I am. The camera actually worked yesterday, but they used this setup to stream vision. So I think Hitch unplugged it, and I can't get it to work right this second, so just blame him.
Well, you're a professional gamer. You're not a professional webcam guy, so we don't blame you. But
Exactly,
I'm curious to know, first of all, when did the talks, if you're able to disclose that information, when did this whole thing start to kind of come into fruition?
Right. What can you tell us about what just happened and threw everyone's head for a spin?
Well, I can't really be specific, but it hasn't really been in the works for a long time, obviously because we were, holy crap, that voice crack. We were under contract. So once contracts expired for some people, then we were allowed to see our options. So probably only a couple weeks, but it's just been really stressful.
So we were talking about that today and the amount of stress and the other things that come into play that take you away from being able to focus on just playing. And I think that one of the things that you guys have done better than any other team, and the reason that you guys have been able to win, is you guys eliminate your distractions and just focus on playing. Do you agree with that? Do you think that that's one of the things that you guys have really specialized in and taken care of yourselves?
Yeah, for sure. I stream scrims most of the time, except for the past couple of weeks while stuff's been going on. But I try to not really let that affect me at all. Most of the time, I don't even have it up. And other than that, nobody else really streams the scrim, so we're always really focused on that.
All right.
But I'd say while all this was going down with the team changes and stuff, it definitely kind of did distract us more, and we've seen that in our scrims.
All right, now bringing up some of your scrims there. Of course, I believe it was off stream as I didn't see it myself, but you did end up essentially dropping your first series and since X Games, and that was over to Envy. We did at the beginning of the show here.
Yeah, that was a fluke.
Show some tweets.
Oh.
Yeah, any words to snipe down there as well?
Was it a fluke or a hook?
I thought that's what they called Hook's TV2 team.
Oh, ouch.
It was, in the words of Eric, good games, even though I don't know who says good games after a scrim, but I'm not going to get started on that.
I've never seen him say good games after a loss.
They were playing really well.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him.
No, he doesn't. and he's never said good games after scrims either, except us. He was just kind of, getting it out there subtly, like, hey, we beat them. But, that's cool. No, they played really well. Nothing taken away from them. We weren't really playing too bad. We were playing pretty sloppy, but they were actually playing really good. So I'm excited to play them.
Right now, we don't know what's going to happen this season here, but if you had to give me your top 4 as far as our power rankings go, how do you see this season playing out?
Top 4 in no specific order.
Besides
I think
you guys.
it will be us, Envy, LG, and Liquid.
No specific order, but we're gonna put us first, and then Envy second, and then
Yeah, no specific order, but that was the specific order, unofficially.
Excellent. Well, Lethal, I want to thank you again for joining us here. Hopefully, for the next one, we'll have your camera ready, and we'll be able to learn way more about everything that's been happening. No worries.
E6 took my camera. Sorry.
All right, good deal. Well, Lethal, once again, thank you for joining us. I'm sure we'll talk later. I can't wait to hear more about everything, and best of luck tomorrow as well.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.
All right, see you. All right. There it is,
he's a funny guy, that TJ guy. Yeah, you heard it first from him. He said it was stressful, that whole team changing thing, the contracts, all those things. It's like you got to go and you got to get a lawyer. You got to go through all of these, things that, you're just a little Halo guy, living in the Halo world, and you got to deal with all these real world problems. So those things definitely come into play. Again, I wish we could have gotten an interview with Kratos. I'm really curious if we had a follow up right now with him to see what he had to say. But again, just nothing has really changed in terms of how good this Optic Halo lineup is, and they're going to continue to impress.
Right, and they've got everything kind of said and done now at this point as well. So now it's back to only Halo, and you heard it from Lethal himself. There was some distractions there involved, and I definitely understand where they're coming from. Now, if you miss any of the action or you want to get caught up on any of these games, you can always head over to youtube.com/ESL Halo to check out any of the action that you may have missed. We'll have all the VODs uploaded, even the VODs from today uploaded. I believe it's going to be overnight as well. So pretty quick turnaround on those if you want to recap and rewatch anything that you missed here so far. Now, after this short break, we are going to come back and have Evil Geniuses face off against Team Allegiance.
Yeah.
So we'll get that taken care of, and that's one I'm pretty excited for as well.
Yeah, these matches, they're going to start picking up. We were talking about how close that they were going to be. I was mainly talking about the last 2 matches, guys. I was kind of kidding about the first ones being close. But yeah, this is going to be the series I'm looking forward to. Over to analyzing for these guys. Allegiance made a team roster change as well, and then following up after that, Team Liquid's going to be playing too. So really excited to see where these people are going to, how these players are going to stand.
Right, and you heard it from Lethal too. Envious, Liquid, 2 of the teams he's predicting in the top 4 as well. And we just saw LG play. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a short break with match number 3. Evil Geniuses going up against Team Allegiance.